welcome to Let's Talk Tottenham, international break, so there's not really anything to talk about, but it's Tottenham, so there's lots to talk about. Joined by Brad. How you doing, Brad?
Chris, good, thank you. It's Friday, so it's nice and sunny, so can't be better than that, really.
Yeah, lovely day today. Brian Daigle's joining us shortly, hopefully Stella as well at some point as well. But we're primarily talking about top four today, and the top four race. The season starts here, really, with 9 games left, 8 games, 10 games for various different teams. Before we go, a big thank you. Reached 200 subscribers yesterday. It's now 202. Thanks to everybody who subscribed, everyone who watches, everyone who puts comments on. Really does mean a lot. Please keep doing it. And yeah, let's get to the next 100. But thanks to everybody who subscribed and watches, as I say. So yeah, we'll get on to the top four in a sec, Brad. And firstly, as well, please hit the like, please hit the subscribe, and also as well, if you're not aware, which you should be by now, tomorrow is a huge day, 10:30 p.m. UK time. For anyone who doesn't know, where have you been? Bobspur is back. In the Wall is back on Bobspur TV. You don't want to miss that one. 10:30, 10:30 p.m. UK time. Bobspur TV. That's a YouTube channel. Make sure you check that out. There'll be I hope he's prepared for not being able to talk that much, to have to put comments upon comments up on well wishes for him and everything, because he's going to get a lot. And I would imagine that the viewers of that is going to be skyrocketing and fully deserved as well. So make sure you check that out. But before we get to top four, this guy retired, Brad, Jermain. Brilliant striker, not just for Tottenham, but various other teams. Didn't really get his shot with England. He did score in a World Cup, though. I think South Africa World Cup, I think it was. But yeah, absolutely superb striker. And he's now a pundit. But what he did with Bradley Lowry as well, I mean, he could have easily just, I'll do it while I'm playing at Sunderland and then not really do that much afterwards. But he seems to, from what I hear in news and read on Twitter, he still keeps in contact with them and just seems like a really nice bloke, as well as top striker. Pundit now for Sky, so we actually have some representation for Spurs on there, and he's pretty good on there, I think, so hopefully he continues that. But yeah, a word on Jermain Defoe and what you think he'll do next.
Well, I've been reading that they're looking at involved him at Tottenham in the coaching capacity. I think that would be good. Yeah, that'd be really, really good, because he. I mean, it's an ongoing process. He gave his Harry Kane gave his facts to Jermain Defoe, the sort of advice that he got when Harry Kane was starting out. And I think you can't get any better advice than someone who's actually played the game. And Jermain Defoe, who himself said he got advice from I forget who it was, might have been Michael Owen or something like that. So, yeah, I think having that sort of player in there who's been there, done that, I think that's very, very important. Jermain Defoe, I think he just matured, not only as a player, but as a person over all those years. Because remember when he left West Ham and he put in a transfer request sort of like the day after they got relegated and everyone was having a go at him sort of thing. I mean, it was bad timing, effectively. But he sort of learnt from that. And, yeah, he just matured. And he's done a lot of stuff for charity, including that poor old Bradley. So yeah, I think he's been a very, very, certainly a very good player, but a very, very good person as well. And I think you only have to see an interview with him to find out that he's an all-round really, really good guy.
Yeah, I think so as well. And yeah, having him on the coaching staff would be really good, I think. Audio Artisan in the chat, how you doing, buddy? Thanks so much for watching and the comment. Keep them coming in, everybody. But yeah, I mean, he's just clinical, isn't he? I mean, he's got something that you can't teach, which I suspect Harry Kane has got, just that striker's instinct of knowing where the goal is. You can't teach that, but there will be definitely things that he can help with in terms of getting. They always say, don't they, the sign of a striker, a good striker is, when you're struggling, is the time to worry is when you're not getting the chances, because that means you're not making the runs, you're not trying to get onto the end of chances. If you're missing chances, it's poor, but it's not the end of the world, because you're still getting those chances. Eventually they'll go in, and you see with all strikers, they suddenly hit the goals and then they just come flooding in.
And the thing is with that is that it's sometimes only a small margin of error. So if you get the ball on the turn and you hit it and it hits the post or it goes in, both of those are really effectively good strikes. You've done what you have to do. But it's just that little margin of it, that little, one way or another, it might go in, it might not go in. So I think, as long as you get that shot in, and then you'll have days where everyone will go in. But I think that ability to just get it on the target, and also that pace over those few yards to get into that position ahead of the defender, which Jimmy Greaves had really well. And I won't say that Jermain Defoe is Jimmy Greaves, but he has that sort of instinct to get into that right place at the right time.
Yeah, he'll definitely be able to advise young players as well, because that goal he scored against City, when we won 3-1, where he took it on the left, I think, cut in the middle and then blasted a shot in. That he suddenly beefed up, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's not a skinny lad or anything like that, but he definitely got some upper body strength.
Yeah, he did.
And in terms of what you've said there about struggling to score goals and suddenly they go flying in, I would imagine a lot of young strikers, if they're not getting the goals and missing chances, will kind of not sulk, but take it to heart a little bit and then stop making the runs. So he'll be able to advise them to keep going, keep making these runs, maybe make this run because this might help you a little bit. And in terms of if they're short, he was short, but he beefed up and then he was able to hold the ball up. So he'll be able to advise with that. So if he can become a coach with us or something in the coaching setup or the youth setup or anything like that, then I'm all for that. I'm all for that.
No, I think so. And that's good. That's good that the club, if they do that, will recognise his service to Tottenham. So I think Tottenham probably would have been the team he played for the most, I would say.
It was 2 stints, wasn't it?
Yeah. But no, he and also like Harry Kane, he scored goals from outside the box as well. He used to have the long shots like Harry Kane does. So he wasn't just an in the box predator. He scored goals from all over the place. I think you only have to really look at the Tottenham Wigan game when we beat them 9-1 and he scored 5. I mean, it was just like amazing. To be fair, Wigan was so poor that day. I think if I'd have come on the sub, I probably would have scored as well. And it was one of those days where everything was going in. But that was just absolutely clinical striking from Defoe. I think he must have scored every chance he got. I think he must have got 5 chances to score 5 goals. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Well, knowing him, not knowing him, but after listening to him in interviews, he's probably annoyed he only got 5. Based on what you said there, that Wigan was so bad, and I can't remember what game it was recently, but Kane got 2. I can't remember which game it was, but I would imagine he was fairly annoyed he didn't get a hat trick. I can't remember which game. Everton.
Yeah.
And, I would imagine he was fairly annoyed, and that's a sign of a really good striker. And, yeah. And now he's a pundit. He's got Dawson with him on Sky, so we've got some representation in that studio. Just need Jermain Genius to move over, although he is the representation on BBC and BT, so keep him there. But
Glenn Hoddle as well was on a lot of them as well.
Yeah, so. I mean, I quite like Jermain Defoe on. You get someone like a Roy Keane, you get a Gary Neville, you get a Jamie Carragher, Souness, who just want to talk about their clubs and and he stands his ground. I like that. I mean, what's he got to lose by
He's got a lot of clubs to talk about, hasn't
he? But I really like Jermain Defoe, and he's obviously on the intro video that I put together here, and a lot of good memories from Defoe.
His international career never really took off, and it's such a shame because I remember watching, I think it was the European Championships where England played Italy, and I think he was on the bench. And that was a game, I think, from memory, went to extra time and it was 0-0 and surprise, we went out on penalties. But I was saying this game is screaming out for Jermain Defoe to bring him on in extra time because it's just that sort of player that will come on and score. But they never did. And it was,
you get managers, don't you? Just don't fancy a certain player for whatever reason. And you get them. And I think my only criticism of him was that he was offside a lot. And I think that is at the top level is essentially giving the ball away. But he did play on the last man. So you're going to be offside more than a striker who's primarily his function is to hold the ball up.
Well, so is Kane. Kane's on that fine line, isn't he, really?
But I mean, brilliant striker, Jermain Defoe. And Audio Artisan said Clinton Morrison's a Spurs fan too. He is. But so he gives us yeah, he's obviously not during the games. This is more Soccer Saturday, and he obviously didn't play for us. But yeah, I don't mind him either. My dad doesn't like him, but I don't mind Clinton Morrison. But yeah, when Brian comes on and Stell comes on as well, we'll talk about Jermain Defoe and get their thoughts on Defoe. But the main topic is top four. So, I mean, who are the favourites for top four for you? And I have a graphic to kind of illustrate. It's going to cut us off, to be honest. This is the table, and these are the remaining fixtures.
Well, go on, Chris, go on.
Yeah, so right on cue. Here's Brian. How you doing, Brian?
I'm okay, buddy. I'm okay. I'm taking. What's up, Brad? What's up, Chris? I'm taking it easy. I've got an illness at the moment, so I'm having to. Yeah, I say to Brad earlier, I've got something I don't know if people would have heard of it. It's called labyrinthitis, and it's something that I've suffered with on and off for about 10 years. And what it is, it's basically an infection of the inner ear, a viral, I can't remember if it's viral or bacterial, and basically it gives me intense dizzy spells where, like when you flick a coin and it spins, and it spins till it stops. But then once the coin drops, it basically goes the other way like that. And it's intense. Then when I stand up, it messes up my balance, and sometimes I fall to the floor, and it's awful. And I had a real intense session of that for about an hour and a half, just about half an hour ago. But now I'm feeling okay. But it just comes and goes throughout the day. So apart from that, I'm good.
Well, you're upright, Brian. You're upright.
I'm upright because I've just had a dizzy spell. When it's got over, it normally goes away for a bit. So if you see me start to lay down, it's just because I start feeling a bit dizzy again. But yeah, no, apart from that, I'm all good. Enough of my doom and gloom and bloody illness. We're here to have some fun on a Friday morning, afternoon where you are. And Brad, it's now what? So Monday, I believe it goes down to what? 8 weeks? No, 9 weeks. 9 weeks.
9 weeks. Yeah, it's getting there. And I've just had my flights reconfirmed by Flight International because they changed it. They changed my Toronto Vancouver flight.
Okay, well, what time do you actually arrive in Toronto?
I arrive in Toronto around about, I think it's about 5:45 in the evening. So that's
lovely. So we're getting you home, have you something to eat and everything, and then let the jet lag get you.
Yeah. I think I'll be fine. I think I'll be okay after that flight. The one that's worrying me is the Vancouver to Sydney is 15 hours. So it's like, whoa. So I think I was working out today. I'm sorry to bore you, Chris, on this one, but I think it's. I get the flight from Toronto to Vancouver, and then I think Vancouver probably goes back the other way to get to Sydney. So it's. I mean, that's sort of the way it works. So 15 hours for that flight. But I've done a 12-hour, 13-hour flight many times, so it'll be fine.
We'll all be good. But yeah, what were we discussing before I came in and spoke about illnesses in Canada?
This is all about the top four, but Jermain Defoe retired yesterday. What a striker he was, and seemingly nice guy as well. Everything he did with Bradley Lowry. But your thoughts on Jermain Defoe and memories of Jermain Defoe, Brian, and what do you think he'll do next? We were talking about, Brad said that there's talk of him being a coach or in the coaching setup. So I'd be all for that.
So I went in a bit on this with We Are Tottenham TV yesterday. So Jermain Defoe is a very special player for me for many reasons, but as people know, it's well documented that I've suffered with mental health all my life, or not all my life, from like mid-teenager onwards. And I was actually in Chase Farm Mental Health Unit in January 2004, just having my breakdown. And he was a player I really loved. I loved the look of him. He goes to Bournemouth, scores 12 goals in 12 games, was doing stuff at West Ham. And when the rumours came up that we were about to get him, I was getting so excited that we signed him, so excited. Then we got him. And I thought he was a great player. Was really upset to see him go. Loved seeing him come back. The type of goals, the quality, the relationship he had with the fans, the time he gave the fans was incredible. And then obviously you got to remember he came out here to Toronto.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. He played in Toronto, and I was at his final game for Spurs where he worked. It was just before he was leaving to go to Toronto. He didn't play. It was in a European game where he came out and did his goodbye with Paul Coyte at half time, and he was speaking about his favourite goals. And when I actually came in to get married to Alana, when I came in for the first 2 weeks every time in Canada, I actually tweeted him and said, listen, Jermain, I'm in Canada. I'm a huge Spurs fan. I'm getting married on this day. It's my birthday as well. Would love if you could make an appearance. didn't think I'd hear a goddamn word. But I got a direct message from him. He followed me to send me a DM rather than tweet him. He'd say, "Hi, Brian, congratulations on your wedding. Come on, you Spurs." He said, "I wish I could come, but due to Toronto FC commitments, I think they were either away, not in Canada, or I don't know what." But he actually, what he said may not have been, but he actually took the time to read my
tweet. He didn't need to say anything, did he? He could have just left it. So,
and I was just like, "Do you know what, mate? Fair play to him." And then obviously we all talk about the thing that he did for Bradley. You've got to remember he went through a time in his life where I think he lost his father and his sister, or his father and his cousin, very, very in tragic circumstances. And his charity work is just I mean, what he did for that kid. Do you know what? There are so many kids.
And he continues to do as well. He still talks to the family, where he could have easily just said, "Oh, I've done my bit. I don't play for Sunderland anymore." But I think he's just a really nice guy. He is.
It was meant to be a one-time thing, like at the changing room and the first time, and the attachment and the bond you saw there, and nothing sums it up more. And I remember this, and I cried myself when he had moved to Bournemouth and Bradley was right near the end, and it was the first time that he broke down in tears, like live on a. The man is just, you don't get many people like that now. There's that famous story where he stopped to have a kickabout with kids in the and it was Harry Kane he had a kickabout with when he was a kid. And I was saying it yesterday that if Tottenham Hotspur haven't picked up the phone already and said, "Listen, I know you retired, but as soon as you're ready, this door, like we did for Ryan Mason, this door is open. We keep talking that we need football people and Tottenham people within the club. And even if he doesn't go as an ambassador like King or Dawson, can you imagine Dane Scarlett learning from him?"
Yeah, exactly.
And anyone coming through, for me, if we haven't picked up the phone, apparently someone said it. I think it was a guy. Oh, what was his name? I can't remember. It was a very good supporter. Dan Fries. Dan Fries said it yesterday. He said apparently rumours are we've already made that call, or at least said the door's open. He has to come back to Spurs. He has to, in any way, size, shape, form. When he's ready, obviously enjoy his retirement. It's going to be a bit of a shock this morning when he wakes up. It's like, well, what do I do? Let him do what he wants. But this is a golden opportunity to bring a guy back as either an ambassador or someone to help Dane Scarlett. Like, obviously, he can learn from Harry Kane, but in training to go every day and learn from Jermain Defoe. Just an incredible player. And I wish him everything that he wants in his life.
I was saying to Chris that Harry Kane was saying thanks for all the advice that Harry Kane got when he was at the club. So, and I think, didn't he set up a hospital in the West Indies somewhere where his family are from?
Say again, Brad?
I think he set up a hospital or set up something in the West Indies.
Yeah. He set up so many things. He's looked into schools. I mean, you see a lot of the players from, like, you look at people like Mane and Drogba, what they do for their countries in Africa. They build hospitals, they build schools, they build. Jermain Defoe does a hell of a lot of work. And like you said, he's still very, 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 very close with the Lowry family. Very, very close. And you get so many professionals now that are vain and don't have time for the fans and do whatever. And this guy was the complete opposite. A gentleman, a predator at the same time in front of goal. Just a phenomenal person and a great ambassador for English football. And just hopefully, like we keep saying, I just hope the next thing we hear in his career, obviously I think he'll do media for a bit. But I don't think that will, like King and Dawson, they still appear on Sky, BT, whatever. So I just hope that Jermain Defoe does go down the role of State going to the Tottenham rather than do like a Jermaine Genius, who I think is brilliant as a pundit, but I think Jermain Defoe has too much to offer the younger generation.
Yeah, without doubt.
Just sitting in the media.
Yeah, I imagine he'll end up having to take his coaching badges first. So that's when you'll see him on the media, not really in a coaching. I'm not really sure how it works, but then I imagine as soon as he's got his coaching badges, like Brian says, hopefully that's right. Come back, you're a coach for us now.
Well, they can offer for him to do his coaching badges at Tottenham.
I think that's what I've heard they've done. I don't know how true it is. That's what I've heard they've done. That he can do that in the same way that I think Ryan Mason wasn't he? And even Ledley King for that matter, doing their badges. But
I'm absolutely all for him coming back to Spurs, but. Yeah, and
well, hopefully at the Newcastle game, Spurs fans could just start singing his name over and over again and try and force the hand. There you go, Brandon Chris. Brandon Chris, if you're going to the Newcastle game, you know what to do. It's all on you.
Talking about
that guy in front of you might say, "Oh, you're too loud."
We're talking about the Newcastle game. That is our next game in the quest for essentially top 4. I'm not going to get into the stage that we are going to get top 4 now, but we are definitely in the race. So, fortunately, this will cover up people. But these are the fixtures left for the teams in top 4. It was done a little while ago why there's some blackout there and why United's next game is Liverpool. It isn't their next game. It's about 3 games in. And obviously Arsenal-Tottenham is to be decided at some other date. But that's the league table there. I mean, Brad, who's favourite for it at the moment? Or do you not think there is favourites because of those fixtures and
if you look at the table, and I hate saying this, but I think if you look at the table and the fact that they're actually playing quite well at the moment, I think you'd have to say that Arsenal are probably the favourites. Having said that, if we can keep this same 11 for the remaining games without injury, that sort of thing, and as long as we beat Arsenal in the rearranged North London derby, then we've got a chance. But I think those 2 things have to happen for us to have a chance. I don't like predicting that we're going to make it, because as soon as you do that, it's like it's like Schrodinger's cat, isn't it? As soon as you say it's alive, it's dead, and that sort of thing. So I don't want to predict that we're going to make it, but I think certainly if we keep the same 11, which seem to be gelling as a team now, and they don't have any injuries, then I think and beat Arsenal in that rearranged game, then we got a chance. But I think you have to have those 2 things first.
Yeah, and Brian, for you, same as Brad, or do you think there's someone else who's favourite? And could Chelsea be sucked into it, do you think? Or do you think...
No.
I'm sorry, no. if you could not sit on the fence and answer... No. So whose favourites for 4th for you, based on
do you
that?
know what?
Do you think there's a lot more things to kind of happen to decide if there's a favourite?
So we broke this down. Brian Ireland and I did this on We Are Tottenham TV yesterday, because obviously we've taken over it for whilst Ben's on his stag do, and obviously Simeon is with him. And we did a breakdown on this, and once we gave our totals and whatever, and then we both realised we completely cocked up on the maths. By a point here, point there. Basically, I had Tottenham ahead of Arsenal by 1 point. But it actually worked out. They actually had us joint on points, and then Brian Ireland's gone for us sneaking it by 1 point. And I still say we're not going to do it. What I did is predicted what I think Spurs should be able to do, not what I think they will do, which is obviously 2 different things. I actually think Newcastle is going to be a draw. I think Newcastle is going to be a draw. The reason I say it's going to be a draw is, at home recently, Newcastle become a real problem. Don't know what you have these teams that for no word or reason you just can't seem to. I mean, obviously Joel Linton scored against us in the first game at the new stadium, and he scored his 1 goal in the decade that he. And it always, and I even remember when I was a season ticket holder, Newcastle always used to be such a battle. But when I had my season ticket, Newcastle were the Kevin Keegan and the all flying Newcastle. And you know what? Newcastle right now, you've got to remember, up until their defeat that they had in the last game, in 2022, only Liverpool have got more points than them.
Wow. I didn't realise that. Wow.
That only Liverpool. We're talking Man City as well here. So that cannot be laughed at. And I think it's going to be, I think I've got us drawing against them and Brentford. I think because Brentford, you've got to look at it as well. These are the games that I'm picking out that are going to be problems. Brentford, I mean, one of my favourite moments of this season, and it's personal with me because I watched it with Bob, Kim and Arthur. It's when Bob and I met Kim and Arthur for the first time, which was the Brentford-Liverpool 3-3 at the beginning of the season, which was a phenomenal game for English football. Then you look, they've drawn 0-0 with Chelsea at Brentford. They beat the Filth on the first game of the season. The Chelsea game was a 0-0 because Mendy made about 386 incredible saves. It's a hard ground to go to. And then you add Christian Eriksen into it if he's fit.
Oh, yeah.
So I still think, look, mathematically we're in it. Do I think do we have a realistic chance? Yes. Do I think we're going to fall short? Yes. I just hope it's not to the filth, and I hope it's not. I really can't. I've already seen Arsenal won the league at White Hart Lane. If that derby, if that derby decides fourth place, and then they get Champions League at St Tottenham's Day at our ground, all I will say, I'll be very lucky that I'm in Canada, because I would be going absolutely on a rampage to the training ground or wherever I could get to.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of games to be played before then, but yeah.
Technically speaking, I think from memory, Arsenal had already won the league, or not mathematically, but
they needed a draw.
Yeah.
They needed a draw to confirm the league.
Got last minute penalty, but
they went 2-0 up within about 15 minutes. You're like, oh, here we go. And then we started celebrating the draw like we'd won the league, and it was like, wait a minute, we're celebrating a draw against Arsenal. They've just won the bloody league with Judas. And it's like, I can't. The thought of them getting Champions League qualification.
That's not the first time they did it in 1971. Well, so.
Well, third time lucky in that case.
Well, actually, Brian, what you were saying about, I agree with what you say about Brentford, definitely. Newcastle at home, well, we're due to beat them at home. We haven't had a good record against them at home. So I remember at White Hart Lane where we had to beat them over Christmas time to go top four, and we lost 2-1 after being 1-0 up. And then we lost another game 1-0 when I think their keeper had the best game ever.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Cooley made about 15 saves, didn't he?
And that Newcastle defeat you're talking about was the season that Kyle Walker scored the own goal against Manchester United in the first game of the season. Then we went like 14 games unbeaten, and then Hugo Lloris in the last. And it was always that guy, bloody Perez, who's now at Leicester. Always that bloody dude.
But I agree with you about the Brentford game. What about the Villa game? Because I think that's our toughest away game, the Villa game. Although to be fair, they didn't do. Sorry. Well, I'm basically right off that game. I say no points from that game anyway. So you're right, Brian.
Yeah. I'm just I can feel it. So I've just laid down to get a bit more comfortable. But yeah, no. Do you know what, Villa? Steven Gerrard, you don't know what Villa's going to turn up, right? They've had a consistent run of playing really, really well, but against Arsenal, they were woeful. And a lot of these, when we were going through the fixtures for Tottenham yesterday, I won't just do it. I was trying to take my Tottenham hat off. It was actually harder to take my Tottenham hat off predicting Arsenal fixtures than it was, because I just want to go, lost. But Aston Villa, and I was basing it, like I said, with Newcastle, about our history at that ground and what kind of. And I remember when my first away game ever was Aston Villa. And it was the day that Eric Cantona kicked the Crystal Palace fans. So I'll always remember the date of that game. But Villa recently has been a good place for us. It used to be back in the 90s and early. It used to be a real. We just couldn't do it. But I think we're going to get a win there. I think. I can't remember the last time we got a defeat or even a draw at Villa.
I think we won our last 6 there in the league.
Exactly. So that's what I'm kind of basing it on, being the superstitious, like this is a good ground for us, and hoping that kind of pays off. But yeah, I can see why you're saying it's hard, because Coutinho will probably have a worldie. Watkins will have a worldie. Danny Ings. And it's just like, oh, here we go.
They're an unknown quantity at the moment, aren't they? It's like when Poch took over us first time, we were very inconsistent. Some games brilliant, some games terrible, some in between. So it's that building thing like that. But just quickly off the top 4, message in here from Bobspur. How you doing, Bob?
Hey, Bob.
Great to hear from you. Big up, beautiful people, gorgeous people. Hi to Daigle too. I haven't heard him give you that kind of a comment before, Daigle, so I suppose it is.
Oh, yes. I don't know where you've been. I don't know where you've been, Chris. Because
just relaxing after my body massage. Oh, yeah. And I said this at the start. It'll be said at the end as well. Tomorrow is bigger than football, much more important than football. Bobspur is returning. In the Wall is back. 10:30 p.m. UK time. You don't want to miss that. Make sure you go and watch that on Bobspur TV on YouTube. Be said at the end again. It's been said at the beginning as well. It's much more important than football.
I have to say, based on that as well, when he has the little dig and funny dig, that has become like when he tells someone to piss off.
Isn't it?
Exactly. It's like when he goes, piss off Bryce, or piss off this one. Having him say that at the end, it's just It's kind of a badge of honour. When I don't get insulted, I'm kind of like, Bob, you bastard. I'm like,
he has to share it out. I had it on Eugene's channel months and months ago. So yeah, and I haven't been told to piss off yet though, which is
you're going to have it coming any second now, knowing him. You're going to have it any second now. Listen, like you said, it's this show tomorrow. I've said it. I've said it before. I don't think Bob knows about this, or everyone. I don't think people realise. Got to try not to get emotional now myself. How close it was to this show never ever happened. The show tomorrow never ever happening again. Let alone seeing him in the comments. Let alone seeing him or hearing his voice again. And obviously knowing that he's back, and he's going to be back regularly on his channel as well as others. I don't think people could take away the magnitude of how big tomorrow is. Not just
it's far more important than football or talking about football. It's much more important than that for people to watch that and get in the chats and
people said to me, Brian, I'll give you the option. Levy stays for another 20 years and Bob gets his health, or I was like, Levy can stay for 100 years if this man comes back to health. I don't give a take everything out of the window, and people know how close me and him are. He is like literally, well, they know I flew back. He is such a big part of my life and everyone's life, and he's a crown jewel of, as I say, of our community. He is a very, very special person, and just to have him, to hear his music, to hear his opening, to be a part of it tomorrow is one of the greatest things. And like I said, I received a picture from him when he first got home, and it was him and Kim together sitting on his couch. And I said to him, that is the greatest photo I've ever received in my life. And I've seen the first pictures of my nephews and niece, and this picture far outweighs that picture because we were so close. So close. I
mean, it's going to be a brilliant show. And I think it was on Instagram or it might have been Twitter saying that, here's the link and everything like that. Yeah. I think Kirst said something like, really looking forward to it. I hope it's a good, or something like that. His response was, well, bloody hope so. You're on it.
Yeah.
Hasn't lost that sense of humour at all. I'm paraphrasing what Kirst said, but it was something like that. But the response was superb. But yeah, make sure you watch that. Make sure you get in the chats. Hit the chats up, the comments up, saying your well wishes to Bob. And I mean, I hope he realises how many comments he's going to be having to go through on that, just well wishing and everything like that, and thoroughly deserved. And
he's just left another message.
It's just, Chris, you're too nice a person for me to be on. About the same. It's just something I can't find myself doing. It's
bless you, Bob.
It's a rite of passage, Bob. We don't care. But yeah, back to top four. And do you think? I'll come to you, Brian. There's an element of who we're playing could make a difference here. Newcastle are probably safe now. Do you think there's an element that there's nothing for them to play for? Brighton possibly the same. Brentford could be the case, but I would imagine there'll still be relegation battle. Leicester the same. Whereas Arsenal have got Manchester United will be fighting for that fourth. West Ham fighting for the fourth. Chelsea will be fighting for. Probably haven't got much to play for, but pride, and then obviously the North London derby. Or do you think, like everything that always happens in the top four race with the fourth place, seemingly no one ever wants to get it, and they lose games all over the place and everything like that?
So basically, I think
finally, I've been told rite of passage. Just Brad. But yeah, do you think the teams who the top four will be playing?
So
make a difference, or do you think it's
the way I look at it is I think the top four race is down to two, and it's us and the filth. I really think Man U are gonna not be able to. You got to look at Man U. Are saying Ragniak's obviously going, so that you've heard Pele say when they know the manager's going, they can be like, do you know what? Fuck it, he's going. I don't give.
I said that at the start. Yeah.
But then you've got to look at it. If Man U and Ragniak, there's talk of Ten Hag coming. There's talk of Poch, whatever. If Man U already know who that manager is meant to be and they know who's coming in, they might be, well, fuck it, I want to play for that man. I might fuck my ideas up So you don't know. I think there's going to be too much going on in United. I really think it's down to us and Arsenal. I think West Ham, if they still weren't
on Europa, aren't they?
Exactly. If they still weren't in Europa, then maybe there could have been a bigger push. But I think they're going to put all their eggs into that basket. They've got a serious chance of getting to the final. Serious chance. So you would imagine that they're doing that. I think when it comes to the relegation, the only teams that really, Burnley and Norwich, I think Norwich are done. I think Norwich are done anyway. But I think Burnley, Leeds, and Everton are the ones that I think Watford and Norwich are done. I think Leeds, Burnley, and Everton, and I still think it's going to be Leeds. I really think I said it all season. I said it actually first on Bobspur's channel. That I think Leeds are going to have second season syndrome. So with the other teams, yeah, there's a lot to play. But I would say I was thinking before, and I showed how stupid I am. Newcastle might try and get as high as they can for the extra money, and I was like, wait a minute, this is Newcastle. What the hell?
There is an element there of the players must know that they're going to go mad in the summer. So I want to be in that team because I'll get a pay rise. So playing for their future, but it could also be, well, we're safe, on the beach, get pay rise anyway, because what's 100% pay rise for every player to someone who's got 300 billion in the bank?
Yeah.
Exactly.
But no, when it comes to Newcastle, we got to remember, someone said this to me, I can't remember who it was, but it was, when I sat down and thought about it, they were so right. They're like, do you know what? He was saying, if I was Newcastle, if I was Eddie Howe or the players they brought in first wave, they're like, I don't want to be the first wave of players. I want to be the second wave of players, because Eddie Howe has been brought in to get him out of relegation, get him up the table, and try and push to get into the top half. And the first wave of players coming in will have the same. And then there'll become a time where Newcastle will go, right, you've got us where we need to be. I don't think you can get us challenging for seventh and up. So we're going to bring in a bigger manager to get the job done. And then that manager's going to be like, right, we're going to be the bigger players. Yeah, you've got us out of safety. Yeah. Now when they see the Newcastle project developing, that's when the big stars will be like, oh, hello, and the money. So for Newcastle, I mean, Eddie Howe, I was saying when Nuno when we got, I would have rather Eddie Howe than Nuno, because at least Eddie Howe at Bournemouth tried to play good football. Yeah, he had a big team, and he might not have been able to manage the big egos or whatever, but he plays good football. He's a nice guy. But listen, Newcastle are to be watched. I think this summer they will go a bit crazy with players. There will be an influx of players coming in, but I think come January and the season after, that's when you're going to see Newcastle flex their muscles with the big players. So the running, like I said, I think the relegation struggle is between the teams. I said, and I think the top four is just down to us two. I did us and the filth.
Yeah, and a couple of comments from Bob. Eddie Howe is what Mark Hughes was at City during the takeover years.
Exactly.
Literally a steady Eddie, literally. And also, people say Brian is my brother from another mother. Wrong. He's my brother and my guardian angel, all rolled into one. Love your brother, despite your weird love of dwarf.
You know what?
Backhanded compliment, maybe, but the first part, fine. Second half, I mean, please.
No. Do you know what? He starts to. Bob always does this. I can't believe it. Do you know what? I actually thought he might have forgotten about that. I actually thought he might have forgotten about that.
We're not judging.
No. He started this. He started this whole thing. He just came out of the random thing, and then he came out. It's too early in the morning to say the other things he said in relation to dwarf porn. It was Bob being Bob, but obviously he knows me and him will banter. We will banter. But I honestly thought once he went into hospital, obviously all that stopped. All that stopped, and I thought, right, he's been out a bit. Maybe he's forgotten about it. But he is a guardian. Like, listen, like I said, you talk about tight bonds, you talk about brothers, you talk about blah blah blah. It's a lot deeper with me and him. It's a lot. It's one of the bonds that I can honestly say, you just don't know when they're going to come, and it's a click, and it's like I said, Bob will know what I'm saying. I have a saying that I've said to 8 people in my life, and if you hear it, it means whatever you need, wherever you are, I will be there. I don't care how I got to do it. And obviously, I didn't think it would come this soon. It did. But yeah, this whole, I honestly thought he'd forgotten that. So, Bob, all I can say is thank you.
I mean, I guess in a way it's good that he's saying that because it means it's Bob being back to being Bob, which
that's the thing.
Which we all want to see. But Brad, in terms of top four, do you agree with what Brian said there? And do you think Wolves could sneak in, or do you think it's a little bit too much? I mean, they have played a game extra than us and United, and 2 games more than Arsenal. But whether they don't get in or not, I think Bruno Lage deserves a lot of credit for what he's done there, because that's a brilliant season for them. And I think they were bottom of the league, or certainly in the relegation zone after about 4 games or so.
Well, Wolves have got as much chance of getting fourth as we have of getting third. If you look at the points tally, we're 8 points behind Chelsea, and Wolves are 8 points behind Arsenal. So I agree. I think it'll be Arsenal, Tottenham. I think Man United will be there or thereabouts. West Ham, of course, will have the Europa League. I don't see a lot of team spirit at Man United at the moment from the games I've been seeing.
Just quickly as well, in terms of the points available left, Arsenal are leading it with 39 that they could get. United, West Ham 30, us 36, and Wolves 33. So in that respect, Arsenal, who are leading the pile, have got more chances of getting points.
The other thing that might come into it, which is in the last few weeks, when we won at Leicester, when we won at Leeds 4-0 and then Everton 5-0, is that goal difference is reachable now. Yeah, and if you think a 1-0, look at the goal difference there, 2 behind them, a 1-0 win over Arsenal, we're level on goal difference. Yeah. So that could come into it as well.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago that our goal difference is in the minus as well.
Yeah, yeah. But this is what happens. This is what happens when teams, you'll have a day when, Arsenal could well play Leeds at home and win 5-0, and then suddenly that goal difference goes up again. But I think Arsenal from that last clip they got Leeds to play and Everton to play. So we've just got to hope that Leeds and Everton are fighting for their lives in those 2 games. But it's going to be difficult, very, very difficult. I'm not saying we can't do it, but it's going to be very, very difficult.
You know what? You mentioned that, Brad, and I just wish Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank was still playing for Leeds, because if you remember back in the day, whenever Leeds played Arsenal, it was a big game that Arsenal had to win for the title or trying to get second. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank would always have a bloody blinder against for Leeds for Arsenal, and is it at Ellen Road or is it at the Emirates for the Leeds?
No, it must be the Emirates, because they won at Ellen Road, didn't they? When they Leeds had virtually an under-21 side.
Arsenal versus Leeds, are you talking about?
Yeah.
I think Everton at home. That's the 2 problems: the fact that they've got Leeds and Everton, but they're both at home, which is a bit of a pain. But
it's very interesting with Leeds, like you talk about, because if this was Leeds 2 months ago, Arsenal would steamroll them. They're not this. Let's go 10 people up front and leave the goalkeeper at the back and then see if we can score some goals. They're not like that anymore. So it's a completely different Leeds team to the one that we decimated at their place. So that could be something that.
All I will say is that I don't think Arsenal have had a bad game in the last sort of 9 or 10 games. So they're due for one of those performances where you play win.
I've just remembered as well. Do you remember as well when Arsenal again will go for the title and Leeds will go for relegation, and Mark Viduka kept Leeds up and lost Arsenal the title.
I remember that.
And so let's hope. Let's re-sign Hasselbank and Mark Viduka. Let Arsenal play Leeds. That's what they need to do. So who knows? If there's going to be a rabbit pulled out of the hat, let's just hope it's one of those 2.
That was a great. I remember that day. It was a great day because earlier I went to the pub and watched Leeds take the title off them effectively. But that was the day I met Helen Chamberlain as well. So it was a really good day for me. That.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Look at that.
I've got a picture somewhere of me and Helen like that.
There you go.
Excellent. And do you think anyone can creep in, Brian? I'm talking about Leicester here. Leicester have got 3 games in hand over Wolves. If they win those 3 games in hand, they're on 45 points. Do you think they can creep in, or do you think they're the picture of inconsistency this season and not really a chance?
So they have been. And this normally, do you know what? This normally happens with Brendan Rodgers after 3 seasons. In England, in Scotland, obviously it was a different. He won treble, and then left at the Leicester have got the players to get in. I don't think they're even a talk about top four at all. I think they can get into. I think they can get into the Europa or the Conference League, because if Leicester show up and Leicester on it, they will blow past people. They will blow past people. I've got to say, fair play to Wolves this season. Fair play to them. All right, they haven't exactly scored the biggest bundle of goals, but they got rid of Nuno. They started playing a completely different style of football. Got rid of the goalkeeper that went to Roma with Jose, and they've done a complete 180 on the style of football they play, and they've done very, very well.
Very difficult to beat, aren't they? They don't concede a huge amount of goals.
Yeah, I mean, Brad, you were at the Wolves game with us, weren't you?
Yeah, unfortunately, not.
Yeah. Oh, that's when we went for a curry after, didn't we?
Yeah.
The Wolves game. Oh, that was probably one of the most shocking and pathetic first half performances I've ever seen live at Spurs. Ever. It was abysmal. So fair play to Wolves. Fair play to them this season and what they've done. And they got rid of Adama as well, and they haven't really looked back since Adama's gone either.
Well, that's interesting with Adama, because I read the other day that Barcelona might not be interested in making him permanent, in buying him. So he could be back.
So this time we can have 6 weeks of bullshit that we're going to buy him.
Fantastic. I mean, Brad, do you see Leicester creeping into the top four conversation, or do you think it's those four teams, five teams there?
No, not at all. No, I mean, we all know from experience that having 3 games in hand means nothing. I can't. And even then, if they won the 3 games in hand, they're still in Wolves' position. So, no, I can't see that. It's Tottenham, Arsenal, Man United, I think, at the end of the day.
And in terms of, for us, obviously, don't say win all of our games. But what does Spurs need to do to get fourth? Obviously, there's 9 games left, I think it is. Obviously, we have to win all of our games. We need Arsenal to drop at least 1 game because they're 6 points ahead of us for 1 game. And I can't remember but yeah. So we need Arsenal to drop points. Do we? Is it just a case of just playing how we are playing, or do we need to play teams that are attacking us? Because I still think there's a problem if teams sit back. You saw the Burnley game, the Middlesbrough game. Teams sit back, very little creativity. So what do we, or is it just a case of Kulu, Son, Kane just need to turn up and we should be all right?
Well, we need the wing backs to turn up as well, because that's where your attacking comes. If you play a low block team, you stretch them, get your wing backs involved, and so Doherty and Reguilon it won't be Session but Doherty and Reguilon or Emerson possibly. They've got to really up their game in those sort of games. But yeah, what you're saying, what do we need to get fourth? As I said earlier, beat Arsenal at home, keep the first 11 that we've got at the moment, or as near as damn it, because I think they're starting to play as a team now. And also, we need to work out defend set pieces a lot better. That's really, really annoying.
Yeah.
Jay Ashraf here as well has just said, I can see Arsenal drawing with United at home because we can't rule United out of the top 4. I wouldn't rule them out just because they've got Ronaldo, and we saw what Ronaldo does when Ronaldo decides to turn up. But yeah, sorry, Brian.
Yeah, no, I mean, the first thing to guarantee top 4 is we need to hope and pray everyone comes back from international duty. I mean, there's talk. What's up, celery agent, my brother? There's talk, obviously, that Kulusevski may have picked up a fractured cheekbone. In the previous game, it's huge. It's huge, but they're talking about him having to wear one of those Hurricane. It's not confirmed that it's a fractured cheekbone, but there's fears that it may be a fractured cheekbone.
I think he played 120 minutes, didn't he? I think he played the whole.
Yeah, he did. I mean, let's see if I can get the picture that was sent to me. I can't remember where it was, but obviously it depends how bad this is and if it's confirmed. But it does not look brilliant. And obviously, he might need to wear a mask. But the most important thing is, obviously, we need these people fit. Romero, every time he's gone to Argentina, he's come back with an injury. And I found out yesterday we were talking the one game that he may be able to play in is Argentina-Brazil of all bloody games. The one game that you got is like, no, Romero, calm down.
Oh no.
Calm down. Take some Valium. Take some Valium before the game or
Let's
some, it's like
let's hope that Rick Harlison doesn't play for Brazil.
Yeah, just calm down. Just calm. Because it's huge. And then
just hope more of us playing, and then he's tasked with marking him. More will look after him.
Listen, the other thing to look at is yesterday for Uruguay, Bentancur was absolutely outstanding. Absolutely outstanding, and he is really starting to find his feet.
He was superb against West Ham. I thought you can moan about the fact that West Ham let him play, but that ball to Kane for the second goal. Oh, it didn't make the goal, obviously, because Kane's pass to Son made that, but it gave Kane the opportunity to look up and then play that pass. And looking forward, I'm not really sure what Tim Sherwood was on about, saying he just passes it back all the time. But anyway, possibly just trying to get himself. I've been really impressed with the two new boys. Kulusevski obviously has got most of the headlines because he's scoring goals, setting up goals. But I think Bentancur against Man United was terrible. Learning very quickly that this is the Premier League, not Italy, and you don't get the space on the ball. If you want 2 touches on the ball, you've got to play a pass and move. And when you move and get the ball back, that's when you can take your 2 touches. But, he's not hiding, is he? He's always looking for the ball. And he had that terrible performance against Man United, had a good performance against Brighton and was superb against West Ham. And I'm really happy with him.
So, let me ask you 2 a question. And I said it on Tottenham on Tour on Tuesday. Kulusevski, okay? So, this summer coming, it's an option to buy 30 million. And next summer, if we get him, it becomes an obligation if he plays 50% of the Premier League games or he qualifies for the Champions League at 35 million. Now, do you take the option and sort the deal out now, or do you wait till the summer? And the reason I say wait till next summer, as in the obligation, is he's going to be with us next season regardless. So I'd rather use that 30 million that is the option to spend on other areas to strengthen the team how Conte wants it for the sake of 5 or 10 million and then take the option. What's the point of buying a player and making him permanent now when he's going to be with you next season anyway? It's not you go home and then it's a 2-year loan, so he is at the club next season. And you use that 30 million to hopefully get a player or 2 that Conte does want. So would you guys take the option, or would you wait till the next summer or the obligation?
I think that what they have to do is they have to sit him down and say, look, we're not going to buy you at the end of the season because of blah, 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 blah. We want to do this strengthen team, but we will be buying. They've got to tell him, I think.
Oh, of course.
They've got to tell him and say, look, we will want to buy. But I know I totally see what you're saying there. Again, top 4 comes into it, doesn't it? Because top 4, you've got extra income. So you might be able to.
Well, if it's top 4, it becomes an obligation. If we get top 4, it becomes an obligation.
This season or next season?
I think if we get top 4 is one of the things, it becomes an obligation automatically.
So no, they definitely, if they've got 30 million buys you a decent player, let's be honest. I think they have to.
In this day and age, 22-year-old, whatever he is, 30 million. Not really anything in today's.
No, but don't forget we've got to pay for Romero, haven't we? I think
exactly. That's what that comes into the equation, Brad. Because if we take up this option as well, let's say we do take the option, that's 80 million of our budget out the window on 2 players that are already at the club.
Yeah.
This links into a question that Bob sent in. Firstly, celery agent regarding Kulusevski, whack a helmet on him. But a question from Bob. Brian knows I've said since day one when Conte came in, I expect us to finish top 4, and I'll be gutted if we don't. Any implications if we don't? Like you've just said there, Brian, if we do, we've got to pay 30 million or whatever it is already. We've got the Romero money. And I've got a nagging feeling, a horrible feeling that if we finish top 4, Levy will turn around when Conte says, I want money. But you're good enough to get the top 4, so you don't need as much as you thought. Whereas if we don't, Conte could say, you want us to get us to top 4, we need investment, but then Levy could then turn around and say, you're supposed to be an elite manager, but So any implications there if we don't? I'll let Brian think about it for a moment, because I imagine there's a lot of stuff going around his head.
Yeah,
to talk
why
about
have you done this to me? It's a lovely Friday morning.
Bob put the question in. He's told me to piss off and Brad to piss off. Now he's put
then
the
you
question
said that man's name. You said the man's name. You brought this man's name. Okay, Bob, Brad, you go.
Well, the only implications if we don't finish, I think Conte will stay if we don't finish top 4. But the only implications is basically money, because if you get into the Champions League, you're guaranteed, if you're playing the group stage alone, was it 60 or 70 million pounds? So, which is 2 decent players. So I think that's the only implications I can see. I think he'll still say.
There's a Kane implication if we do or don't get in, or do you think if Conte stays, Kane will do what Conte does?
Well, I was watching We Are Tottenham TV watch along a few weeks back, and Stell, it was the one with Iggy and Stell was saying that if we get top 6, Conte's done an absolutely amazing job.
Yep.
And I find it very hard to disagree with that. Top 6 would be brilliant, and improvement on last season when we finished 7th. But I think going back to the implications. Anyone watches It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you know why I'm laughing. Implications. Going back to the implications, it will obviously be money. But obviously the sort of category of player that we can also attract as well, because there will be some players that will say, well, I'd love to come to Tottenham, Conte, living in London, Premier League, blah, 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 but you're not in Champions League, so I won't. So I think that they're the two, to me anyway. I think Conte will stay. I think it will affect the money, just on the fact that we won't be able to get the Champions League money, and obviously teams will plan ahead and they'll be, well, we haven't got that money to spend. So yeah, they're the implications: the money side of it, and the fact that certain players will say, no, I can't because I want to play Champions League. And you have to say, although I think it's unlikely, you have to say Harry Kane comes into that, because Harry Kane wants to play Champions League. So I don't think he will go, but that has to come into it.
Yeah, Jay Ashraf says here, if Conte walks, we're going from machine to continue the Italian setup. And Kieran McDonald, how you doing, Kieran? CONCACAF. I'm not sure what that is.
It's the American World Cup qualifying groups.
Right, okay. Has me missing Spurs something fierce? Come on, Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. Let's go, USA. We'll come to the international break. Last point before, we've kind of already mentioned it, but yeah, Bobspur's question, Brian, the floor and my mistimed use of a certain 4-letter word.
Yep.
The floor is yours.
Okay, so the implications are, first of all, I'll be saying to my wife when we arrive in London, listen, I'm going to take you to a lovely, lovely open space and show you some lovely greenery in Enfield, and not tell her that we're actually going to the training ground, and then I'm going to give her my levy outside and say, just walk around here. Beautiful fields, lovely scenery, lovely little English pub. I'll take you to lunch, because believe me, I will be there. I will be there. Listen, the implications are not getting top. Right, let's address Harry Kane first of all. Harry Kane, if he finishes the season the way he's playing right now, he is going to be within touching distance next season of Jimmy Greaves' record. He is not leaving. With the record being that close, yes, he may not get the trophies and everything he wants at Spurs, but there's no way, if he's within touching distance of the late, great Jimmy Greaves, that he's not staying to get that, because you've seen when Ian Wright broke Cliff Bastin's, or Frank Lampard beat... You become the Wayne Rooney beats Sir Bobby Charlton. You have that title and you take it off the man that is Jimmy Greaves. You are immortal. You are immortal. No one can ever take that away from you, apart from in years and years and years, someone will eventually beat you, but you will hold that record for years. Absolute years. I mean, own goals this season are catching up with Harry Kane's goal tally. So own goals might become our... But the implications are, obviously, we come to my favourite person, and it's kind of what Daniel Levy does is, like when you're at school and you go into work and you try and leave school at high school age, you go for a job, they go, well, where's your qualifications? You're like, well, I haven't got any qualifications, I just came out to work. But then you go to uni, you get your qualifications, and then they say, well, where's your work experience? You're like, well, I didn't get my work experience, so I went and got the qualifications you wanted. That's where we're going, and this is where the bullshit stops. With Jose Mourinho, I can understand that, because Jose Mourinho comes in and spends hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions wherever he goes. Fact. Antonio Conte doesn't. Fact. He identifies, or with his coaching or his scouting network, identifies players that will play his brand of football, have the mentality to put in the work that he demands, and will know that I bring success. And the Conte, if we don't get Champions League this season, that's the whole point of having Conte there. It's the Conte pull. When players, if people know, let's just say we don't get it, we can qualify for Europa. People, if we start getting the players in Conte wants, and let's say they do play Champions League every season, but they're not playing it like a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, a Juventus, a Bayern Munich, coming to Tottenham for the Antonio Conte effect, like people would want Mourinho, people will come to work under Conte. And if Conte gets the players he wants, I think players will sit there and go, do you know what? We may not be in the Champions League this season. We might be in the Europa League. But if Conte gets in the players he wants, I can do without Champions League for one season, because if Conte's got what he wants, I guarantee I'll be in it the next season. I guarantee it. So if Conte gets what he wants, and it doesn't, I keep saying this, I don't expect us to spend, I'd love us to spend 250 million, 300 million and plus. Conte doesn't need that budget. It'd be nice for him to have it so he can shop where he wants. But I think with this manager, it's not going to be a case where, he wanted too much money or the fees were too much. Where I'm worried, and I've said this on many a stream, that if he says, and I keep using De Vrij as the perfect example from Inter, if he goes and says, I want De Vrij, get me De Vrij, I don't want to see a cheap alternative of De Vrij. I don't want to see a De Vrij wannabe that is one for the future. I don't want to hear, he's got no selling fee. Go get De Vrij. Because Conte knows what he's doing. And we're going to have to move very quickly because Conte loves his players in early, like Poch did before pre-season. So he has a whole 6 weeks with them. So when it comes to game time, they're ready. So this qualifying for Europe and money, I don't think is as big as everyone. Yes, of course, it's lovely to get Champions League money, but Conte doesn't need hundreds of millions. He needs what he wants at the price he can get them. And that's the key. And if he does not get them in quick, there will be issues. And if there's issues, people know where I'll be. And now that Bob is down in Enfield or close to the training ground, I know he'll be with me if he's not at work. And this time, the numbers will grow. The numbers will grow. And even if they don't, I will be there because I'm a man of my word when it comes to this and having my say. Because this summer, everyone has said, January, we'll wait and see. But, no, it's the big summer. This is the big summer. We've heard this big summer so many times. And if it's not this summer, then I think people will finally go, do you know what? This is it. This is it. We said Conte the first summer. This is the window that we all need to pay attention to. We said this to all the Leviators. Wait till the summer. And if it's another summer that starts off with fucking way below value or not getting in the players or waiting to sell to buy, I don't understand. If you know a player you can get in is coming in and you're trying to get a player out, get that player into back so the player's there, so then you can let this player go. Not try and sort out a deal to get the player out that leaves you with only a little bit of time to try and get this player in. This has to stop. And I think this summer, if we don't start getting players in by the beginning of July, very, very beginning, like late June at the latest, I think there's going to be serious trouble.
We should have a short list now of players for next summer.
Conte will, though, won't he? Conte will. Conte will know what type of players he wants, know which players are achievable. I mean, there's no chance he's going to be able to go to Levy, get me Ronaldo and Messi in and Mbappe in. So, Conte's smarter than that, knowing that, Haaland in. He knows he ain't going to get Haaland if he wants a striker. So there's got to be another alternative. And then it's up to him, Paratici, to go and get those and Levy to allow those two to do that stuff.
Well, we're hoping during the international break, that's part of the things they'll be doing. But I think they're probably on the holiday, aren't they?
Yeah. Quick question for you, Brian from Kirst. How are the Toronto Strawberries doing?
They are actually. Do you know what, Kirst? But actually, when it comes to summertime, we get them in. I'll show you the size of the Toronto Strawberries. They are huge. They're not. Basically, when me and Kim met Kirst and we took her out for lunch, we kept telling her that the strawberries in London were like family size, like one strawberry can feed a family of 6, and we were just joking about with her. But here I will tell you one thing: the fruit in Toronto, I swear to God, they're genetically modified. Like apples are like this big. Some of them. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Brad, you'll see it very, very soon. It's like, Jesus Christ, look at the size of this thing. But yeah, when the strawberries come out, I'll take a picture of you for Kirsten, and it'll be. Do you know what? We got to meet her, me and Kim, and she really is just one of the most friendliest, kindest, most beautiful women you could wish to meet. She really is, and she came all the way down from Hull to meet us for a few hours.
Oh wow!
And then got the train back, and we went out for lunch. We had a really nice day, and it was just wonderful to see her. She's just such a great girl.
Absolutely. Every time I've spoken to her, she seems a really nice girl. And yeah, she said, great to meet you and Kim. Love you both. And yeah, Brad, lastly, before we kind of go, the international break. I mean, is it a worse time for Spurs than any of the other top 4 teams?
Well,
obviously, we mentioned about Kulusevski potentially having to sit out or wear some protective headgear, and then Romero, what happens to him with Argentina, Brazil?
It's a shame in the fact that we've started to get a bit of teamwork. I mean, even in the Man United game, I think we showed better teamwork. So that's starting to gel. We've had the 2 wins, the ongoing winning run, Brian.
Oh, thanks. 2 games is not a run; it's a step.
the 2 game winning streak that we've put together. But no, I think we're starting to improve as a team. And this first 11 seem a lot settled now. They know each other's game. You got the 2 midfield sort of strong midfielders, and then you got the front 3 are playing well. And as I say, you can get the wing backs performing well. Romero's amazing, So, and that's now stopped for 2 weeks. So that momentum has gone. And momentum, I think, is very important in football. The other thing, obviously, is injuries, which happens to us all the time, it seems. But then let's have a look and see what happens to all the other players from the other teams. Maybe they might have people coming back injured. But I'm not too worried about Kulusevski. I think he might wear the mask or the helmet. And I think he'll be able to play. But yeah, I think so far so good. I think Son's played, Bentancur's played, Kulusevski's played, Ben Davis and Joe Rodon's played. So I think these players have played without any problems. So yeah, but that's the one thing. The only good thing about the international break is I don't get stressed over Tottenham this weekend. That's the only good thing about it. So
yeah, comment from Bobspur. Go on, Kirst is great. So hope she remembers she's on my show tomorrow night. Big love, little sis. Yeah, Brian, international break, is it worse for us? Or because if we get an injury, we could be in trouble, whereas other teams can maybe survive an injury or 2, or do you think it's both?
Do you know what?
It doesn't really matter. All teams are struggling.
For once, I actually think this has come at a good time. And the reason I say that is, first of all, it gives Skip an extra couple of weeks to get back to fitness. And if Skip can get back now and be amongst the team, that relegates Winks. And I don't mean that with disrespect. I mean, you say a midfield 4 or Højbjerg, Bentancur, a 3, and Skip, as opposed to them 2 and Winks, your team is ultimately stronger. Ultimately stronger. So it gives him time to get back. The injuries is a huge concern. That's the big thing. But if you look at it, Rodon, all right, Rodon's not playing, and he probably won't, but Davies has got through to a final or the next stage of, so they're going to come back buzzing that they've got through. Kulusevski, the same. All of them have been with their countries, and thankfully, so far, they've all won. Apart from we don't have any Italian players, so there's not even I'm not going to what, I mean, they're going to be buzzing, they're through to. So I actually think this may have come. I know it stopped the run, as people are calling it, the run. But I actually think giving Skip that amount of time to come back, because like I said, I Skip has been, for me, even though he's had this injury, has been my player of the season, hands down. And you look at it, and we saw it in the Chelsea game where I met Brad for the first time when we lost 3-0 when I first went to the game, and you, Chris, that game.
Yeah.
and you look at the Arsenal game away, you saw how much we missed Ollie Skip when he wasn't there. There was a huge Ollie Skip-sized hole in that midfield, and that's when I can mark. That's a kind of a way you can gauge how good a player is when you physically miss him when he's not there. And for him doing it at this age, so I think him possibly having this 2 weeks to get back to even more March fitness. The fact that a lot of the players like Heung-min Son, South Korea have qualified already, but he's got another goal. You know what he's like with his country, so very patriotic. I think they're all going to come back. So far, absolutely buzzing that they're going to the World Cup and yada yada yada, and all fit and ready for they get to see their families. I think this may have come for once at just the right time, but that's all dependent on injuries.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the worry. Going back to Ollie Skip, I think that the good thing about Bentancur and Højbjerg playing well as a pair, if they keep on playing that well, that means that we don't have to bring Ollie Skip back in straight.
Exactly.
We can sort of bring him in gradually, because obviously if he's had an injury, you don't want to suddenly rush him in
completely.
So as Højbjerg and Bentancur keep playing as they are, then we can sort of bring him into the team. But yeah, that's a good point. He's got another couple of weeks, and I've not that I was any great player, but I've had a groin injury. It takes ages to get over, really does.
Yeah, well, with Bentancur and Højbjerg playing as they are, Skip coming back, it gives Conte a nice problem that he's probably not too upset that he's got with the 2 positions available, 3 players who are equally good playing there, and
it also gives him the option to go to a 3 in midfield if he needs to.
Yeah.
If he needs to say, right, I want to put 2 up front and really take control of the midfield, and make that the key battle, he has the option to go 3-5-2. We've seen with Winks, the only way you can play Winks is in a 3-5-2, and the only way you can do it is if you play against a team like a Leeds that are very, very open. But you say, if I was to say to you, we're going into the North London derby, midfield 3 of Bentancur, Højbjerg, and Skip, you'd be like, right, I'll have some of that. I don't care who else, I will have some of that. So it gives him that option as well.
Yeah. I felt a bit sorry for skipping the fact that I thought it was an outside bet to make the England World Cup squad, but maybe now it might be more difficult because he hasn't been playing recently. But I think if he'd have had a full season, I think he'd have been a definitely outside chance to make that.
There's always the first few months of next season, isn't there? If he starts well in there, and
Oh, that's important actually. Does anyone, when the World Cup's on in December, does that mean that the Premier League stops, or
for about 40 days?
The World Cup.
Right. So that's
going to be really interesting, the World Cup, because there will be players coming back that are injured for the rest of the season and stuff like that, and that will affect championship. The teams going for championships, teams going for top 4, relegation, and cups and all that. So I think FIFA could be in, similar to what Sheffield United did to West Ham when they went down, in line to being sued here by quite a few teams, and everyone knows it's been a disgrace and it's been given to Qatar. I felt really on there, but I can see FIFA getting sued and all sorts happening, because it will affect teams who are going great guns, get dragged into relegation battles or lose leads and places because their top player gets injured because of a World Cup during the middle of the season.
Did you see the Harry Kane interview, the England interview the other day, press conference?
No.
I felt very sorry for him. He actually handled it really, really well. Now, we all know that the human rights issues in Qatar and transgender, all that sort of thing, we all know that they're really, really poor and need sorting out. But literally every question they asked him was about that. I felt really, really sorry for him. But he handled it really, really well, I have to say. But yeah, the questions they kept asking him, well, what do you think about this? What do you think? Yeah, I felt, yeah.
The media, I'm not a fan of the media at all, but yeah. But yeah, we pretty much reached the end. Not much to talk about. We have got one a comment from Kirst. Arsenal, of all the big games, we have easy ones. Ooh, don't set yourself up for a full curse. We've been here before. It's our chance now to smash them out of the top 4 position. I think that's why the North London derby date isn't announced yet, to be the game to see who gets top 4. Absolutely, I agree with that. And people, I was speaking to friends who said it won't be the last game because that's already been decided. We've seen from the FA with the FA Cup semi-final on the 16th, 17th of April, I think it is. Man City, Liverpool fans coming down on the day that there's tube strikes, they couldn't care less about the fans. So if there's more money involved for Sky and the FA and Premier League by having that North London derby game changed so it's the last game of the season, they'll just change it, and then the fans who've already bought their tickets or coming down or whatever can sod off.
Well,
they don't care. They don't care.
You see, today it was announced on Sky Sports that we've had to cancel the North London derby and the women's football because of COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see that, but yeah. But yeah, we pretty much reached the end. Not much else to talk about. There is international games, but yeah, an hour and 15 minutes on a day where there's not much to talk about with Spurs. There's always something to talk about with Spurs. Two great guests, as I say, and I've said it again. Before. I'll say it again. And Kerr says, you wouldn't miss it for the world. Bob show, on the show or not, I will be on. Love you too, brother. I'm sure it'll be an emotional one. Make sure you get over to Bobspur TV, 10:30 p.m. tomorrow, UK time. And if you're not around, make sure on Sunday you go on YouTube and watch the replay of it. Absolutely hugely important show. It's far more important than football. I'm sure everyone who watches this knows exactly the situation. But yeah, absolutely important that you watch that and get your comments into Bob, show your appreciation for him coming back and well wishes. I just hope he realises he's going to get a lot of those during that show. But yeah, absolutely huge show that's far more important than the football that we talk about, the football that we watch or anything like that. It's far more important. So really, you don't want to miss that. So honestly, please go and watch Bobspur TV tomorrow, 10:30 p.m. UK time. But yeah, Brad, thanks so much for coming on. Semi-regular on here. Always pleasure having you on. And Brian, pleasure as always. Just a quick plug, Tottenham Tour. Or you are you're We Are Tottenham TV on tour at this moment. At
the moment we are Tottenham on tour. We'll be there today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Obviously my show Tottenham tour, but yeah, I'm just going to echo like I have been since he's just been in the chat saying thank you.
No problem, Bob. My pleasure.
Tomorrow's show is just I can't describe how much of an honour it is for me to actually be a part of that show. And just to be able to be, I was a regular on this show as always, and just to be seeing him, and obviously seeing him as I did in the hospital and how poorly he was, and now seeing, like he said, with the thing that I thought he'd forgotten, and just seeing his mannerisms come back in and his sense of humour and everything. It's been a journey for a lot of people. Obviously, no more so than him and what he's had to go through. But the fact that he was meant to come back in mid-April, but he's like, no, do you know what? I want some normality. I want to do this, and the love this man's going to get and richly deserved, because like I said to you, during that time it was like my left arm was missing. I didn't know what I was doing myself. I flew over, as people know, and it was because I couldn't stand being here, and Ilana was like, you're walking on eggshells, you're up and down. It was so the fact that he is doing this show tomorrow, the fact that we're going to be part of it, and the fact that the Tottenham community have come together to clear the airways to make sure no one, or like within our community, obviously there may be some other channels or whatever, but no one in our community is streaming. No one. So everyone, not only to make sure that everyone is watching it, because everyone wants to be a part of it. Everyone wants to see him back. It's like I keep saying when I first saw it, it's Return of the Bob. It's just a wonderful thing. It's like tomorrow's show is like Christmas, New Year, your birthday, anniversary, Easter, Rosh Hashanah, all the goodness that there is. That's what tomorrow is about. So everyone watch Bobspur TV. Everyone subscribe to Bobspur TV. Like I said, it's the most important show of the year. It's the biggest show of the year, and it's just going to be incredible. I've already seen the intro. He sent me a video of the intro, so I've already. It's just great to see Bob intros again, because he is the master of the intros. So yeah, it's just going to be incredible, and I literally cannot wait for 6:30 my time tomorrow evening. I cannot wait.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, echo again. Get over to Bobspur TV at 10:30 p.m. UK time tomorrow. get your comments in, your well wishes to Bob, and enjoy the show. It's probably going to be an emotional one, but
I'd like to echo that as well. What Chris and Brian have just said, definitely.
Yeah, but a hugely important show. Like I said, it's far more important than whether we'll get top 4, whether Conte will stay, whether Levy will stay, whether we'll get far more important than that. So please go over and watch that. And if you can't, obviously tomorrow, make sure you watch it on the replay and hit the like and put the comment in YouTube rather than the live video. Yeah, that's basically it for us today. Thanks everybody for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe here as well after you've favorited Bobspur's channel and make sure you watch that. We're on 200 now, 202 now. So here's the next 100.
Brad's walking like an Egyptian.
I was trying to work out the best way. Oh, that's it. Yeah,
then you have do the down one with the other hand as well. There you go. Now do it together. Do it together.
There we go.
Walk like an Egyptian.
Yeah, please give a like, please give a subscribe, get to the next 100, and then go on Tottenham on Tour. Go on We Are Tottenham TV as well and give the likes and subscribes there. International break still, so Monday, something different. A quiz on Monday. I'm going to try and set that up tomorrow. Obviously, that'll be 8 p.m. UK time. Brian's the current champion. There's no prize to give out this time, I'm afraid, so it's for pride. So anyone who wants to be a part of that, I've got space for 9. So Brian's already in. Brad, if you want to be in.
Yeah, what time Monday?
8 p.m.
Okay, yeah, should be able to make that. Yeah,
should be setting that up tomorrow, the actual quiz. And anyone else who wants to get involved, ping me a DM, tweet me, whatever. And something different for Monday when there's no football. But that'll be Monday. This is today. Tomorrow's Saturday. Bobspur tomorrow. Keep saying it. The intro on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook of this show will be us telling you to go and watch Bob's channel, because what we talk about isn't really that important in comparison to the whole scheme of things. Please go and watch Bobspur's channel tomorrow. And thanks for watching here. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
And as always, love you, Bob.
Yay.
Thank you so much for watching. For everybody who participated in the live chat and added comments, before you go, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Anybody who couldn't watch the live video, you can still catch us on YouTube. Add any comments, suggestions or questions to the comments section on the video. Anybody who's listened to the audio-only podcast, thank you so much for listening. Anybody who wants the audio-only podcast, you get this wherever you get your podcast from. Alternatively, if you go to Twitter, @Talk Tottenham, you'll find all the information there. We'll be back soon. We're live Mondays, 8 p.m, Fridays, 12:30 UK time. Until then, come on, you Spurs!